everyone, and welcome to the London Resort Source. This is episode 14, and I'm shortly to be joined by Steve. We've had some technical issues just at the last moment. Let's see if he can get onto the stream here. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How's it going? Are you going to freeze again?
I probably am. Yeah, my laptop is playing up. But good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. If I go again, I'll try and get back in as soon as I can. But yeah,
I've had to switch positions in the study as well because my monitor didn't start. So it's been a bit of a whirlwind day, to be honest. What with this news, all the stuff going on with the Super League for any football fans out there, and also my former workplace has been lambasted in the Guardian as well. So it's been a pretty busy day.
You have to send me that, yeah.
But here we are to talk about the news that was unveiled today about the first, I guess, official announcement of the land, which is the base camp land in the northwest corner of the park. So for those that have been following and have looked at been looking at the concept art, I think we've deduced that this is the land that was formerly on the previous concept art known as the jungle. And they're now, I guess, going around and revealing the actual names of these lands one by one, and also giving a bit more detail about the rides that are going to be in those lands. So that's really, really good news for us, because to be honest, we were running out of content.
Yeah, it's been a bit quiet, hasn't it? Like the last month or so, and we've been discussing like what sort of content we can do, and I think with this news coming out, I think it's kind of the first bit of news where it's something that we can get excited about, because it's kind of we want to know about like the themed lands and the rides and what's really going to be at the London Resort. And it's great that PY Jabot did this Blue Loop thing, which was today, I think, wasn't it? And it was a sustainable conference hosted by attraction industry specialist Blue Loop, and he also discussed about this new Themeland base camp, which I think is which sounds it sounds amazing. I mean, it's another thing that I think of is that it's actually confirmed. Really, I mean, we sort of predicted this anyway, but basically the the woods, the kingdom, and the isles and all that. I mean, it basically confirms that that's probably not going to be the proper names. It's just going to give you an idea of it, I suppose, of theme lands are. But this one goes into a lot more detail of what we can expect in one of the lands. So it's great.
So we've got some concept art that we can bring up. Let me just find that. And it's brand new concept art that we haven't seen before. So it's obviously a very exciting time. So here we go. We have here, I guess this shows you what the kind of theming is. It's going to be a sort of Jurassic Park-esque sort of theme, I suppose. An archaeological dig, where apparently the dinosaurs aren't the enemies, but they're actually friendly. Although in this concept art, it doesn't look like that Tyrannosaurus is particularly friendly to me. But
no, people, but there you go. It's what T-Rex does.
Yeah, there was some news recently that I read that apparently there was something like 2.5 million T-Rexes over the course of the T-Rex time. I don't even know when it was that they were around. But yeah, that's a lot of T-Rexes. Pretty scary stuff. So yeah, there's going to be this interactive sort of archaeological stuff for kids, I guess. Looks like here we've got some sort of zip lines, sort of pterodactyl style zip lines. There's going to be a dark ride, which is going to use the latest sort of gaming technology, and in that dark ride you're going to be basically not hunting dinosaurs but tracking them. So the sort of vegan version of hunting dinosaurs. And then also in the back here you can see what the enthusiasts are all after, which is a massive roller coaster. And they've said some interesting stuff about this coaster, haven't they, Steve?
Well, they have. They've sent another concept art as well, but they've also sort of explained what these roller coasters are going to be, and they're actually going for. So basically, in summary, it's going to be a prehistoric land, and it's going to feature 2 roller coasters. One's going to be a thrill roller coaster, and the other one's going to be like a family roller coaster. And they're also going to do 2. They've really sort of released, news about 2 dark rides. One's going to be like a 4D motion simulator. Another one's going to be sort of a dark ride based on gaming technology, which is quite interesting. And there are also going to be 2 restaurants as well. But let's go on to the important one, which is obviously the 2 roller coasters, because we kind of want to, go into detail about what they are. And I mean, looking at this concept art, I think everyone here in the UK knows what that roller coaster is in the back. Do you know, Nick?
What? I'm not sure if. I mean, it looks a bit like air.
It's close to home.
Nemesis Inferno.
I mean, I speculate that it's the Swarm.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is. Which, to be honest, I mean, I think it's just, yeah. I mean, I've seen Ronnie said it in the comment section, but I think basically it's just to really give you an idea of what the roller coasters are. The one behind it looks like Superman Ultimate Flight. I'm just going into geek mode here, but that's it's sort of to give you an idea, really. But the first roller coaster we should look into is the thrill coaster, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we've got actually a better picture of the coasters. I'm just bringing it up now. Here we go. So, yeah, this is clearly looking quite a bit different to the one that was just on that screen there. But you can kind of see back here, if you can see where the cursor is. Oh, great. More technology issues. Brilliant. Why are you doing this, Microsoft, at this point? There we go. So you can kind of see back here, there's that kind of archaeological site that the other picture was kind of taken from the angle of down there. So there's a zip line as well. And this is where that coaster would have been like flying over in the background. And if you look a bit closer at some of the trains, you can see here that they're clearly like in a flying position. And yeah. Ronnie George has put it there. Looks like a Vekoma flying coaster like Fly, and Antoine comments it looks like the B&M flying coaster. Yeah, I mean, it could be either, but the thing that makes me reckon it's probably more likely to be the Vekoma is the fact that it's going to be a launch coaster. It's actually going to be a multi-launch coaster. We know, obviously, they've just opened one of these in Phantasialand in Germany called Fly. But interestingly, it's going to be potentially more intense than Fly, because another fact they've revealed is that it's going to be one of the fastest coasters in Europe, a speed of over 70 miles an hour. So it's going to probably be a bit more intense than Fly, which is more of a family ride. But which is amazing news. You know, this is what we want, a sort of record-breaking coaster in the UK.
I mean, the funny thing is that looking at that concept art, I mean, you know, when we were speculating, and we were speculating about the Star Trek roller coaster, and it had like the blue track, and this concept art has the blue track. And you actually said that you looked at it and thought it could be a Vekoma flying coaster. I actually agree with you. I think it possibly is. The reason it probably won't be a B&M is because they don't actually have launched flying coasters, do they? So I can imagine it will be the Vekoma Flyer, but on a much more, well, I suppose, ambitious scale than Fly at Phantasialand. And I mean, I've been on Fly. For anyone in the comments who's been on Fly, I mean, let us know what it's like. But it does look amazing in terms of theming and the ride experience. But we've said before that London Resort will most likely be looking into new coaster models, and this is a new coaster model, the Vekoma Flyer, and that's exciting news. I mean, if that's the case, which looking at the concept art, you know, and the way they explain it, being a launched flyer, it's most likely, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily say that it is a flying coaster in the press release, but what they do say is that it's going to be themed to a I don't know how to pronounce it.
Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatlus. I have no idea what one of those are, but I think it was potentially one of the largest winged dinosaurs. We can see a lot of flying coasters actually have been themed to dinosaurs. You've got Flying Dinosaur as well at Universal Studios Japan. So it makes sense. I think that from the very beginning, even the track layout, it looks like it's going to be keeping close to the ground and doing some like twists and turns and barrel rolls and going over onto its back. And obviously we've got this concept art. So I'm not saying that it's 100% confirmed, but it feels pretty confirmed. And also we've got to remember that Pierre-Yves Jabot is a former Disney person. So that means that he's probably got quite close ties with Vekoma, because Vekoma is one of the main manufacturers that serve Disney, their roller coasters. So actually, maybe it's even the only one. Can't think of another Disney coaster. Can you?
What's that? Sorry,
is there a Disney coaster that isn't a Vekoma?
It's a very good question, actually. I mean, yeah. So I'm just going through them. Expedition Everest is, isn't it? Rock and Roller Coaster is.
Yeah. Oh no, there's that Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland Paris. That's an Intamin.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I always thought that was.
Wow, out geeking you for once.
You are, blimey. That's one off those.
So Ronnie says it gives him Manta vibes. Manta is a B&M flyer in SeaWorld Orlando, going over the water. And yeah, I love the situation of this, going over this lake, and I love the way here that it's swooping past this viewing platform and restaurant.
Yeah,
imagine just being at that restaurant, seeing the coaster go by. It's just, oh man, it'd be so wicked. I
mean, looking at the concept art, it does look wicked. It looks, you know, they're going on an ambitious scale with this themed land, and I mean, yeah, it definitely does have Manta vibes. I mean, you can, like you say, going over the water and things like that. But yeah, I mean, you say it doesn't look like a flyer. Well, they haven't actually announced that it is going to be a flyer. But I mean, when you look at on the left there of the concept art, you can see a train coming out of the restaurant. It looks, but it does look like it's in a flying position. And you know, I mean, sorry, that's just giving off that it is going to be a flying coaster. But because another thing I've thought about, right, is how long do roller coasters take, you know, to be constructed? I mean, when you think of, I mean, a good example is like Wicker Man at Alton Towers. That opened 2018, and that took about 4 years to build, I think. So,
yeah,
you know, I don't know if that's from concept to construction, but I just think they must have these roller coasters, you know, already designed, already. They've already got the manufacturers. So I can imagine that, you know, they're sort of hinting at us, I suppose, of what this roller coaster will be, and I think this gives it away for like the enthusiasts. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Another interesting thing about it is that they said that they said it was going to be one of the fastest. So the fastest coaster in Europe currently is Red Force, which reaches about 112 miles an hour. I don't see it being that fast. They did say that it was going to be over 70 miles an hour. So that's comparable to, for example, Taron at Phantasialand, 75 miles an hour, and actually about 30 miles an hour faster than Fly, which is also another sign that it's going to be more of a thrill coaster than Fly. Another interesting fact they released is that it's going to have at least 1 kilometer of track. So that would make it among the sort of top 5 longest coasters in the UK. At the moment, I believe the big one is the longest. No, sorry, Lightwater Valley, the Ultimate is the longest, and then the big one, and then the Grand National, and then I think the roller coaster at Great Yarmouth. But with that one, you spend like half the time going 2 miles an hour around corners, so I don't think it counts. So that's I think Icon is also around that length, so it gives you a kind of idea of the length of coaster we're going to get. So if you think about Icon, that's a pretty decently long ride. So I'm really happy with that, to be honest. Definitely a lot longer than the rides at Thorpe Park, which I think are almost all completely pointlessly short. So that's good news.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, we don't have many sort of long roller coasters here in the UK, do we? I mean, you do have the Ultimate, which, I mean, sad news recently, it could be, I don't know, could not reopen, but that just goes up a lift hill for like, it takes like 5 minutes to get up the lift hill, I think, or something. You know, it's a coaster I'd like to ride. But anyway, Icon is probably, you know, is a pretty lengthy coaster as well. And if it's going to be on the same length as that, then that's great. Yeah, I think that'd be, you know, really good.
Sinbad Rides again says, I like how it seems to go in and out of the trees. I do wonder, though, what visuals will be like facing downwards throughout the ride. That's an interesting point. And actually on the, if you take a look at closer pictures of the trains for Fly, in fact, I might just bring that up now quickly. You can see that the line position is slightly different to the B&M Flyers. If you're used to going on those like Air at Alton Towers, or sorry, Galactica at Alton Towers, or Tatsu, or one of the Superman rides at Six Flags.
I mean, they do mention that, you know, it's going to go over like rock, skim through water and go over rocky sort of canyons and things like that. So I can imagine you will see some good theming as you go over it. I mean, that's the thing with flying coasters, isn't it? Is that you can more or less see sort of below you. But I can't really comment on the Vekoma Flyers because I haven't actually been on Fly yet. For anyone who has been on Fly, let us know. I mean, it looks as though the seats are kind of on a more tilted position, I would say. So maybe you do see more ahead of you than you do on like a B&M Flyer. But yeah, I mean.
So here's, you can kind of see that. I mean, it's not the best picture of seeing it. Maybe if you look at this dude here in the orange, you can kind of see how the back is kind of, you are kind of almost in a seated position, but just sort of face forward. Whereas I feel like in B&M Flyers, you are really just like properly lying on your front, essentially. So hopefully the visibility issues that Sinbad's worrying about in this comment won't be too much there. You can see people are fairly happily sort of looking forward without straining too much. So yeah, I think it should be good. Ronnie says that he's so excited to see the rest of the lands in the coming months, and yeah, this is great because it shows that, you know, this is one land out of 6 or however many it is. I can't remember exactly, and hopefully we're going to get some more details about all the other lands sort of drip fed to us throughout the rest of the year, which will mean that we will sadly have to postpone our planned video, which was to be speculating on the kind of cheese that would be on sale at the London Resort. But it does mean that we'll be able to talk more about roller coasters.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think this is like a kind of news we kind of wanted. I think we just because we had the news before about the SSI status, and actually P.Y. Jabot has actually talked about that as well in this Blue Loop conference, but which we'll go over. But I mean, we want to go through the interesting stuff first, and I think it's just great to hear about a themed land. You know, it's something that we've been waiting for, and because we don't really know a lot about London Resort, we don't know a lot about what the themed lands are going to be, and this is the first one. And I think I mean, let us know what you think in the comments. But personally, for me, I mean, it does look quite exciting. And they've got some, what they're talking about with the 2 roller coasters, these 2 dark rides, and the dining experience. It really sounds immersive as a theme. Yeah,
it looks wicked in terms of theming.
Yeah.
Here's the image again. We've got another coaster here, and what I think is quite interesting about this is that this is a family coaster. It doesn't look like one here, but I've noticed that quite a trend is to build these sort of family boomerangs under the sort of track of bigger rides. So I'm thinking, what's the one at Fantasialand that it sort of interacts with Taron? Rake, yeah. And I don't think it quite. Oh yeah, there's also the one at Tripstrill, which they've built a family boomerang that sort of winds underneath their new Vekoma suspended looping coaster.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite nice because it means that you add a bit of thrill element to the junior ride, because you get some near misses, you maybe get some interactions with the trains. So I'd really like to see that. There's not really too much detail on what this coaster is going to be. It just says that it's going to twist and turn among the structure of the other rides. So maybe we'll see that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing that came to mind for me, was Klugheim, which is the Fantasialand themed area, which basically has Taron and Rake, and which is the family, Vekoma boomerang. I mean, like you said, they didn't explain much about this, but that's kind of my assumption. It could be another one. It could be another sort of family coaster. It could be your Slinky Dog Dash, Nick.
Yeah.
MGM. Oh no, sorry, not MGM. Hollywood Studios. But that was the first thing that came to mind for me. I mean, for anyone else who wants to say in the comments what they think it is, let us know. But that was the first thing that came to mind when I saw that. So
you've also got a couple of other big attractions in this land. So one of them is a sort of immersive dining experience where you're kind of some animatronic. Let's take a look at that. Oh, it's getting a bit slow.
Yeah, so I was wondering if you left there or not. But yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Well, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah. You still there?
Yeah, carry on.
So yeah, one of the first dining experiences where they talk about how there's this underwater sort of aquarium, should we say, and there's going to be these prehistoric sort of dinosaurs, and they're basically, I mean, they haven't really confirmed what that could be. I mean, potentially a what have we got? That's better. The city.
I'm just trying to close some windows because my laptop's struggling.
But yeah, they were explaining. They didn't really explain much about whether this will be an aquarium or just kind of some kind of projection screen, I suppose. But they're talking about how there's going to be these prehistoric sort of dinosaurs that will be swimming around, and they'll be, as you can see here in the concept, really, you'll see them sort of going around, and there might be a bit of a story to it, I suppose. But I do love this idea. I love this idea of sort of as you're dining, you're underwater, should we say, and they might have sort of projection screening maybe. So maybe you're under some sort of, you're underwater, but they will have sort of projection screening of some sort, maybe just to show these sort of dinosaurs going around the dining area. I mean, I really like the idea, and also it's it sounds like it's going to be a bit of a sort of a high class restaurant to your standard McDonald's at Burger Kitchen, isn't it, at Alton Towers? So
yeah, I mean, to be honest, it seems like a bit of a nightmare to me. I have a bit of a sort of fish phobia, and to be honest, that just looks like the biggest scary fish bell end I've ever seen. So not particularly thrilled myself about this this restaurant, but I'm sure it will fascinate a lot of people. We've also got a couple of other rides that they've announced. One of them being the sort of dark ride, which is going to use some gaming technology. What else do we know about that?
Well, they didn't really explain a lot about it, did they? They just kind of went into the fact that it's going to be a 4D motion simulator ride, I suppose, and they will be looking into this gaming technology. Now, the first thing that comes to mind for me, I don't know about you, is the Mario Kart ride at Universal Studios Japan, because they say it's going to be, immersive, and that it's going to be almost like a game where you're going to like tag dinosaurs and things like that. So I think this is kind of, sounding like it's going to be a very sort of high class sort of dark ride, would you say?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get up what it said on the press release, because it did go into a bit of detail. So it says here that for an up-close look at the ichthyosaurs, mosaurs, and other terrifying hunters of the ocean, guests will head to a motion-based 4D ride. Okay, so the motion ride itself is going to be sea-themed as well. It will dive underwater in search of cold and calculating predators, offering guests an unparalleled expedition into the darkness of prehistoric waters. At points along the journey, guests may begin to question if they are observers or prey. Alongside the fun and adrenaline, the land is also set to deliver educational opportunities. An enormous play area will be created for young paleontologists to explore, excavate exciting fossil finds, and develop STEM skills. Zip lines, climbing walls, and multiple archaeological tunnels will welcome the most enthusiastic of kids, while underwater viewing platforms will offer calming moments as families peer into prehistoric lagoons.
Now that's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Because they're going to have this biodome, they call it, isn't it? Which will have sort of rock climbing and maybe zip lines and things like that. And it sounds like this 4D ride is going to go sort of around that area, should we say? Maybe. Yeah,
potentially.
It's
not super clear, is it?
No, it's not super clear because they're sort of they've been elaborate on it, but it's not really, it's just sort of giving us an idea, I suppose. But
this biodome is saying there's going to be a 1,500 seated arena, which will feature taking shows set within a dense tropical forest.
That sounds good. It doesn't give us much detail really of what these shows are going to be, I suppose, but at least it's good to know that there are shows. That's something we're kind of lacking here in the UK as well. We don't. When you think of Thorpe Park, and all the towers are doing okay. Blackpool. I'm not too sure, but it's nice to know that we could have some sort of permanent live shows in the London Resort.
Absolutely, yeah, it's definitely something that's lacking.
Yeah.
What do you think about the sort of theming of this? It kind of feels like a little bit of a rip-off, doesn't it?
Well, you're thinking of Jurassic Park then at Islands of Adventure.
Yeah, we did get a comment earlier saying that is this just a rip-off of Jurassic
World? I saw that.
Yeah.
You do actually have a point. It kind of is, but then for anyone who's been to Portons Park, they have a sort of a prehistoric land, and I'm thinking of something like that, but on a much more ambitious scale. For anyone who's been there, they kind of have like dinosaurs that they're sort of I suppose in costume and that, and they sort of roam the sort of part of the area and stuff, and it's quite well themed as well. I've not actually I haven't been to Islands of Adventure in a while, but I got a rough idea of it when I saw Jurassic Park, and yeah, you could say it is a rip-off basically, couldn't you? But you see, this is where I kind of prefer this is what gets me sort of more excited with the London Resort, and I do like Jurassic Park because although I love the film and I love Universal Parks, I kind of like their own themes. I love things like that, and
yeah. I was just thinking about what IPs it could be associated with, and Ronnie says, when I first saw this picture, I thought Walking with Dinosaurs because of the BBC. I mean, it could have a sort of nature documentary style sort of theme to it. I think it definitely is trying to focus on being more educational, and I really like that, because what we want really from this park is it for it to be a real family park. I think one of the things that puts, especially as we're getting a bit older, puts us off Thorpe Park is that it is essentially a prison nightclub as a theme park. And there's just nothing there for kids anymore, really, and it makes it hard for families to visit, because you're not going to want to just be dragging a 2-year-old around all day without them having anything to do, so that your teenage can go on stealth. It encourages there to be just lots of groups of kids, and that's fine. People should be able to enjoy going to a theme park with their friends, but also I think it's really important for selling this park that there is this sort of family aspect, because at the end of the day, we want this to enrich the whole community, not just for it to be something for teenagers.
I think they need sort of each of the theme lands to sort of cater for the family and thrill market. The reason I say that is because the London Resort is going to be a very sort of let's hope a global sort of attraction, I suppose, that will attract a lot of visitors around the world and stuff, and they're gonna need attractions there that's going to cater for all the family, not like Thorpe Park. I mean, for people, the thing is that I love Thorpe Park, but I mean, when I go there, at the same time, I just get that kind of bad vibe, and I don't know what it is about it. I mean, I still like the rides there and stuff, but when I go to somewhere like Porton's Park, which is kind of a family theme park, I just have a much better time overall. I just think the atmosphere is great there, and they've actually got some really good thrill rides, family thrill rides, should we say. I don't know if it's because I've been to Thorpe Park so many times and I'm just fed up with it, but I love this idea of a theme land that will cater for the whole family, as teenagers as well as children and parents.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another thing that's interesting that PY discussed in the interview, the talk we did today, is this idea of sustainability. Obviously, we've had a couple of things come up since we've last gone live, where we did discuss the site of specific scientific interest designation that's been put on it by Natural England. But then also, I think people have been petitioning now the BBC, for example, to actually remove their sponsorship of the park on these environmental grounds. And I think that what's really encouraging is that P.Y. Gibault has clearly taken this very seriously. He said today in the Green Loop conference that they're going to be requesting further time from the planning inspectorate to prepare for the formal inquiry into the sort of environmental credentials of the site, which will be happening later this summer. He says it is absolutely fundamental for us to be leaders in sustainability. We've already committed to spending around £150 million on remediation, habitat enhancement, and providing around 8 miles of footpaths and public rights of way. But since Natural England designated the area NSSSI earlier this year, it is right and proper that we take a short extension to revise our reports and ensure they address the issues raised. So I think that's really, really positive, and I'm glad that they're really taking it seriously, and I hope that that's received well by the environmental community.
Hopefully it does, yeah. I mean, I think it's something they have to take seriously, and it's something I think we want them to take seriously, because obviously the wildlife is it's, you know, they're rare species on site, and it's very important. And I think I think with this, you know, with this statement he's announced, I mean, even if this does potentially delay the project, I mean, it potentially could not. But the fact they're going to assess their report and you know, reassess it, I suppose, I think is good. It shows that they're taking it seriously, and it also shows that this is more likely to go ahead. Because I think if they were taking this seriously, I just you know, it would be an issue. So
yeah, absolutely. I think what's super reassuring is also just the commitment to actually work with the marshland that's already there, and to actually try and improve access to it and improve how enjoyable it is for people to use. At the moment is obviously very, very wild and sort of barren, which kind of suits the jumping spider and the bearded tit quite nicely. But actually, it would be great to have that land to be better used or more enjoyable for people as well, as it still preserving nature. Because at the end of the day, it's in the heart of London. There's people everywhere, and you know, again, a nice green space that people can enjoy that is well maintained and has good facilities. I think that's a net positive, even if it means a couple of bearded tits have to go and live somewhere else. Sorry, bearded tits.
They've actually, I mean, the thing is, the other thing that PY Jabot just said, I just thought I'd mention this, that they've already committed to spending around £150 million on remediation and enhancement, and providing around 8 miles of footpaths and public rights of way. Yeah. So that they are sort of you know, integrating this into the plans. It's something they've been, you know, outlining for, well, since the concept art came out. So it was no news to them when this came out in the media. It was just kind of I suppose it's just because the status was official. That was really the only reason, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not obviously questioning the fact that these issues do exist, but I think that with any big infrastructure project, you get these, what they're called NIMBYs, not in my backyard, which is people that will complain about anything that's kind of new and built near them. And I think that a lot of the time these people actually latch on to environmental stuff as a kind of excuse for their complaints, when actually they're just kind of quite selfish people who are maybe a bit quite small c conservative and don't want there to be much change. There's obviously very, very very valid concerns about increased traffic in the area and stuff like that as well. That's another aspect of it, but I still think that the positives outweigh the negatives for the general population. So that's, I mean, obviously we're gonna be like that because we're enthusiasts and we want this to happen. But that's also genuinely my opinion as well.
I think with you know, for example, Thorpe Park. The thing is, it doesn't, because I live near Thorpe Park, it doesn't cause that much sort of traffic congestion, you know, and they can work around these things, is all I can say. I mean, it's you know, they've also just outlined that they have, you know, they're going to bring in like the ferry port, the terminal, the trains, and they're also sort of, you know, that they want it to be so that people would you know, hopefully not use cars to actually, you know, go into the resort. They're sort of, there's very many ways you can get into the resort. So you know, there's positives in that sort of respect as well, the transport. So yeah,
that's great. So I think we've probably reached our time for today. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Obviously some really exciting news that's been released, and we'll be here to report on all the latest developments as they come along, and we'll also be doing our sort of monthly videos, looking more in depth at the sort of speculation side of things. We've been talking about doing a water park video for a while. We haven't gotten around to it yet, but we will do that. If you've enjoyed the video today, please do give it a like. It helps us with the reach of the video and the channel. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe.
Yeah, like I say, thank you to everyone watching today. I mean, like I say, this is exciting news that's finally come out to hear about the theme lands. And just to echo what Nick said, you know, if you did like the video, please do. And we'll see you in the next video.
Cool. Everyone, good night.
Good night.